Heath here again with another Tech Talk. We're going to be working with our M2 today, doing some unusual areas like the pant leg of a pair of jeans. Had someone donate a pair of jeans for us to print on today. All right, and also a long sleeve shirt as well, like going down the sleeve here. So there's a couple little techniques and stuff like that. It'll definitely help us out. It's not as hard as people make it out to be, as long as you kind of keep the rules of the printer in mind, making the printed area the highest level area. Okay, so I think the first one we're going to do is we're going to do down the sleeve, going down on this long sleeve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my adult platens here, set those to the side. And we have this trusty sleeve platen. Okay, now the limits of the sleeve platen is your print area can only be so wide. Okay, so if you had something that needed to be wider than that, you might have to create something like with your adult platens, such as let's see, screw holes aren't lined up here. This must be an older platen system. I might not be able to use the sleeve platen on this particular machine because the hole's out. I'll have to drill it out just a hair. All right, we'll try a different technique. All right, so my other technique here is going to be using a pad. Let's see what we got here. Alright, so this is a neoprene pad. It's the bottom of an old heat press that we just had laying around. It works good because it lays nice and flat, and it's also elevated about a 1/4 inch. So I can cut these things to do different types of work and things like that to kind of get the result that I'm looking for. Alright, so what I'm going to do, let me go get my tool bag real quick, and so that way I can cut this, and then we can go from there. Be right back.
What the heck? What the heck?
Okay, so now I have audio. Alright, we already have a question. Maybe you should mute the main mic if you're going to freak out like that. That's pretty funny. Alright.
I'm sorry.
Love you too, guys.
I'm sorry, guys. I was looking for a charger. I'm sorry about that.
Okay. So let's see what we have here. I did find a drill bit, so let's see if I can make these holes just a hair bit bigger real quick. This is actually an older version of the platen that's been up on our showroom wall for like years. Still needs just a little bit more. engineering marvel. There we go. Fix it on the fly. All right, I'll show you the little the cut technique with the pad as well. But this gives us a chance to go down the sleeve like we want to. All right, so the cool thing about the sleeve platen is when you're doing this stuff, like you have a sleeve here, normally if you were using a regular platen, you would have to lay this thing flat and basically plant right down the edge here. So that way when it's on your arm, it kind of sits a little bit forward of the center seam. So it'd be running right down here, all right? But with the sleeve platen, we can actually slide the shirt directly on to the platen and then make sure that it can go straight down the center seam this way. All right. So I'm definitely going to have to pre-treat this. So I'm going to have to kind of I'm going to go out there and pre-treat this in my Spider Mini. Just didn't have room in here to bring it in here. So I will be right back, guys. Okay, guys, got it all pre-treated here. So sometimes when you're doing the sleeves and stuff like that, it only pre-treats like a certain area, so it'll get on the drawer that you have to pull out on the side. So putting down like a scrap t-shirt on the side of it really helps to get that excess stuff. But just like any other shirt, we got to kind of pre-prep it. And I'll also notice how far the pre-treat went down and everything. Let me see if I can turn this over a little bit. Try to lay it out as flat as possible here. Use release paper. Okay. Press that for about like 30 seconds. It already dried. It's about 15, 20 right there. Yeah, that'll work. So with it being nice and flat, I'm going to use this kind of center seam here to go down. And we're going to slide this right on over here. And try to get it as straight as humanly possible. All right, go ahead and tuck in the side here, the bottoms. Okay. Tuck the excess underneath. So I got to remember my orientation as well, and always be careful that none of the shirt gets tucked underneath the platen so it makes it ramp up or anything. Scan the surface manually. You can always do that. Use the load lasers to kind of scan with to make sure that it doesn't pop up or anything. Go ahead and load the platens in. Let's see. I just noticed that my ink line right here is drawn back. Let's see what we can do to get that up here. Looks like somebody was troubleshooting damper earlier and forgot to load the ink back up into it. Count my circulation. So this little technique using the syringe to pull ink through is always the best way. It's the most aggressive pull that you can do on the capping station. But it does just suck on the capping station, so you have to make sure to do like a head cleaning or two before you actually print. If you don't have ink on your fingers, you're not printing right. Okay. So now we've got to find an image that we want to print down this sleeve, or we can just use some text for right now. Let's do that. So I'm going to go ahead and switch off my video so your screen will go blank. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn on my monitor so that way you can see it. If you ever lose video or monitor anything, there's that little blue snowflake that'll be down on your taskbar. You can just click on that and kind of refresh it. Alright, let's see what we can find here. I'm just going to go into Photoshop. Move this over a little bit. So that way everybody can see it. And so what I'm going to do is just go ahead and create some text. I'm just going to go File, New. Anytime I create a new document, I always make sure it's 300 dpi and on a transparent background. Alright, let's see what we could do down the sleeve of this shirt. I think I'm going to go with the ColDesi logo, but I'm going to line it up a little bit differently. Alright, so from here, let's just go ahead. I'll go to my bridge. So I've already got a lot of stuff in there. Let's see. This PC. Get to my service drive. Where is the key folder? Okay, so I've got this set up as a 2-color, so all I have to do is kind of turn that off, and now it's black and gold. So let's see, we're going to take these portions of the image here. I'm just going to hit Control, so I select the whole thing. Control C to copy it, and I'll go to my Untitled so I don't mess with my original. Control V. Yep, I was on the wrong layer when I copied it, that's fine. Control C, back over here, and Control V. Alright, so there's our little logo here. So let's see, let's make this elongated. So we can go image rotation, let's go clockwise, there we go. Zoom out just a little bit. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to separate this little piece off because I want that to go up and down. So by putting a marquee around it, and then I can use the tap tool, the move tool, to just select it, and then I can go Control T, and rotate it 90 degrees. Photoshop is so much fun. That's good enough for government work. So let's make this on the center line here. Let's make it bigger. Yep. Enter. So now I can do that with this one. T. Control T is free transform, just so you know your hotkeys. Big old ColDesi. This kind of snaps to the center. That looks good. All right. So then, just like any other image that I ever do, I don't want negative space, stuff that's just out in left field. So one of the rules that I always do when I'm doing image edits or anything like that, I always come up here and trim away the transparent pixels or what's not a part of the image. So I just go to Image, Trim. So what I want to do is trim away the transparent pixels from the top, left, bottom, and right. So when I click OK, it makes the document go up to the edge of the graphic. So that way when I tell it I want it 2 inches down, it will be 2 inches down. So let's see, we're going to save this. File, save. Call it ColDesi sleeve. And we'll just put it into my pictures. That way it's easy to find. Okay, now let's go ahead and minimize this. Minimize my bridge. Make this so everybody can see it a little bit better. There we go. All right, so let's see if we have the sleeve platen on here. So we can go right there. There's our sleeve template. All right. So I'm in the first slot here, but I also have to make sure that the collar of the shirt is going, or yeah, the neck and collar are towards the back of the machine. So I have to make sure that I flip the design upside down, so that way it runs kind of, it'll look upside down on the screen, but print upright on the actual machine. So always keep in mind your orientations. All right, so let's go in here. Let's go to pictures. ColDesi art. Or sleeve, that's right. All right, so that's going to be a little bit big. Let's make it a little bit smaller so it's not right up to the edge there. Let's do it at, say, 15 inches tall. Okay, so now we're going to go to rotation, 180. There we go. So that way it runs down the sleeve versus up the sleeve. Okay, let's go ahead and rip it. Now, I have not done any kind of template adjustments on this sleeve platen. I can count on one hand how many times I've actually used it. Unfortunately, we don't do really production here at ColDesi. We do mainly machine repairs and things like that. Now, I have used them in the past when I was running my own company doing this stuff. But yeah, they do have to be dialed in just like your adult platens and level to the print head and everything like that. So keep that in mind. All right, so let's go ahead. I've got the machine loaded and it's ready to print. Let me go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and hit the print button and then switch back over here to my video so you all can see it. All right, let's wheel you over here a little bit. So you notice that I did not put an underbase on this gray shirt. most of the time that you can get away with doing asprey shirts as a white garment and not underbasing it, because it's usually making the graphic will make it darker. It doesn't need to block out the gray. So there wasn't any kind of white or highly see-through areas that had lighter colors on it. So that's why I could just print this as a white shirt. So always take that in mind, like what the graphic is doing and how it's supposed to look on the shirt. Now, if there was white portions in the logo that were needed, then yes, I would have to underbase it. And also, just keep in mind, be really gentle with your seam patterns too. Because like you notice, on one side, it doesn't have a base underneath it, all right? So it's open so you can slide the shirt onto it. So those things can get bent out of shape pretty easily. So just be real careful the way you handle these flaps. So it definitely made the image a little bit darker. That's also one of the drawbacks of printing without the underbase. It does absorb the color that's underneath it. So that's why I can see some of that ash through the color, especially like the lighter colors like the yellow and like the light salmon. But still good enough to get the job across. So how could you use this in a real world instance? Well, explain it to your customer. It's going to cost this much with an underbase, and it's going to cost this little without the underbase. So usually they'll take the cheaper price, and that also cuts down on the work that you have to do. So you have to educate your customers of what they need. So yeah, that looks pretty amazing. Let me see if I can get it on the actual screen here. Pull this around. All right, so let's go ahead and pull this off and cure it. So you just have to be real gentle with it, so make sure that it doesn't touch any of the wet ink and stuff. So you have to make sure to kind of pull it out a little bit at a time. So then, since I did it from the top here, so I make sure to keep it nice and flat as I'm pulling it off. And then let the rest of the shirt drape. So let's go ahead and put this on our heat press here. Be real careful that it doesn't fold over on itself like that. All right. Piece of release paper up here. We'll make the temperature. This was set up for the DuPont inks. So I need to reduce it back down to 340 degrees. When I'm using the P30i inks that come with the M2, it is 340 degrees. And then for without white ink, it is 1 minute of cure time. And then for the with white ink, it is 3 minutes of cure time. Okay, so pretty simple using the sleeve platens and stuff like that. So they are a good accessory. Any of the like the accessory platens, they do come in handy. If you were doing, say, a hoodie, like a really large hoodie, you could put the zipper down in this area and have the shirt panels going down the side. Now you would be limited to your print area, but you use the different platens for what you're trying to do. And there's not like a list of things of what you're trying to do, because you never know what a customer is really going to bring into you. I've printed some strange things. Okay, so let's see, that's almost down to a minute. Cool thing about these heat presses here, if you ever have to manually pop them up and the timer hasn't gone down, there's a real simple, easy way to do it. You push down on one corner and pull up on the other. It doesn't even take that much pressure to do so. So you don't have to sit there and yank it up. All right, so there's our sleeve. Nice as a couple fingers off of the edge of the collar there. Goes down nice and smooth. If I wanted to go down the entire sleeve, I might have to do 2 separate prints. That's just one of the drawbacks of print areas. Okay. All right, so let's see what this looks like if we hold it out. Okay. Screen is backwards here. So yeah, runs right down the sleeve. I might even, all right, it's my size, sweet. I think I might just keep this one. All right, so let's see what else we're going to do. Let's talk about this jean leg. Everybody's seen the pictures of it and stuff like that. Now, the one with the J-Lo on it that's on our website and stuff, those were done prefabricated where the jeans were before they were actually assembled. All right, so that way it gets that seamless look to it. So sometimes if you have a seamstress, you can open up seams to flatten out the fabrics to get more of a realistic print. All right, so from here, that small area of the sleeve platen would basically give me a print area of about that size. So I want to be able to go all the way across. So I'm going to have to do some modifications to be able to do that. So that's where this little pad came in handy. All right, now you don't have to use this exact type of pad or anything like that. It's just something that's flat and is going to stay in place. So you can order these pads, so they come in like 16 by 20. Mouse pads work as well. I like this because it's a little bit thicker. Okay, so now we're going to prep this to see how wide we want it. So let's do this first. Let's do it all the proper way here. So we got to find out how wide this is. All right, so between the seams is about 7 inches wide. So I want to make my pad a little bit smaller so that way the seams over here, the thick folded over seams, can sit lower than the print area, which will be here in the middle. So let's see, let's go a little bit to the inside. So I think 7 inches probably will be a good starting point. So what we'll do is we'll make some marks here. Of course, the one tool I don't have in the bag is a pen. All right, let me go get a pen so I can mark this. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry about that. Oh, before I do move on, did anybody have any questions about using that sleeve platen and how to get to different areas, things like that? Is there any confusion? Okay. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to make some marks here. And I'm thinking I'm going to go only 6.5, just to give me a little bit more wiggle room there. 6.5. Okay. By doing multiple marks, I can move my ruler down. But if I did that already. Alright. So let's see what we're going to use to cut it. I've got me a nice little bit. And you can use these pieces on different types of things that you're trying to do. Like if you were trying to print up around the shoulders of a V-neck, you could cut a piece of like a V into the thing and put this on top of the adult platen. So that way the V-neck sits lower than the printed surface. All right, there's our little pant leg. And I'll go ahead and warn you, this neoprene stuff really stinks out of the bag. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. So that way when I put my pant leg over it, you notice two things. The seams drop down lower, and that way I can print to my surface better. All right. So we're even going to do an underbase print. Why not? See what it looks like with white ink on it. All right, so let me switch back over here to the computer. Let's see if we can find some artwork to put down some men's jeans without making them look too, I guess, metro, if we're going to call it that. All right, so we'll also have to have placement for the pad itself. So you see how this stays up on the pad, and then I can use tape going down the sides here to make the pant leg stay down, and then this will be my printed surface. All right, so let's go over here now. I'm going to turn the video off, so you're going to lose the screen for a second, but then I'll turn the monitor back on. All right, so we'll go back to the adult plan. And we'll go over here to colors, because I want to have it on a transparent background. And I do definitely want an underbase underneath it. So I'll just go to 2 up. All right, let's minimize the RIP software and go back over here to Photoshop. Okay, let's go ahead and get rid of these two. All right, let's see if we can find something that would look neat on the pant leg. I don't think I have any kind of ColDesi artwork that would look cool, but that might look cool on some female pants. It's like this orchid-looking flower thing. Let's see, what would look good at the bottom of a pant leg? Trying to think here. If anybody has some suggestions, go ahead and put it in the questions box, and I can look up stuff on Google. All right, yeah, let's go back and let's go to Google Images. I think I have an idea that we can use. Does everybody still have audio and everything like that? Brandon, Michael, Misty, Nancy? Okay, we'll find out. All right, Mike, cool, thanks. At least Michael's paying attention. Okay, let's go over here to Google. And we can click on images. Whenever I search through Google Images and stuff, let's see, let's do some, let's call skull. Let's say bookends. Got an idea here. I don't know if that's going to work or not because these are actually physical. I was looking for a graphic maybe. Let's just go. What you got? The batteries on my keyboard are dying. My mouse will too. All right, so let's go. Skull and rose. Let's see. I think that might look cool down there on the bottom of a pant leg. Let's see. And then one of the cool things is you have search tools. Under search tools, you can go by size, so you can find high-res images. And if you're going to use this for like business purposes, definitely make sure you don't get copyrighted material, stuff that you're not allowed to use. Always keep that in mind. So let's see what would look neat down on the bottom of a pant leg. All right, let's see if we got something neat. See, they have all those going down the pant leg. Don't think I'd be able to do an all-over print like this. It would take a lot of work to do that. It would not be production friendly at all. Let's see. Let's go back up here to tell you a little bit more popular. Trying to think of something that might be good looking. Something that's high res. I'll be able to crop out the backgrounds. Makes it a little dark, but pink's probably a little too feminine. Let's go. How about Sugar Skull? Let's see. Like everybody's forgotten how to make a cool skull. What happened to the 90s, guys? All right, let's see. I like that. That's pretty neat looking. So let's go view image. I like that kind of graffiti type artwork. Ah, took a wrong turn. Let's see if I can get back to it. Okay, it looks like that one's been taken down, so we can't use that. My mouse is dying here. Hold on a second, guys. Nope. Where'd that one go? Just had it. There it is. Okay, for some reason it's not letting me choose that image, so we'll figure out something else. I'm almost at the point where I just have to pick something. Okay. Let's see if we can go with something like this. No, it's got a watermark. Or we can just go traditional. Let's take the drawing off there. There we go. Alright, let's find something that looks pretty damn cool. That'll look neat. Alright, so view image. Okay, so we'll right click, save image as. Photoshop. Okay, so now we gotta get rid of the backgrounds here. Easy enough. Let me get rid of the excess. Turn it into a layer first. Delete. Alright, using the magic wand, that's too high. 20. Hold the shift key to do multiple selections. That'll work. Let's see what it looks like on a black background. Yeah, I'll get that off. Thank you. Might have to do the edging a little bit, feather it out a little bit. Let's see. Let's use the eraser tool. Here. Here. So, do use that magic wand again. I can go hold the control key, click on the icon over here. It does a selection. So then I can just go to select, inverse, and then select, modify feather. Do it by 5 pixels, it'll work. So every time I delete, it's going to feather it by about 5 pixels. So that little white edge goes away. Then when I get rid of the white background, that's what we have left. So let's go. Looks like I did a little bit too much. There we go. So we'll delete that. Okay, same as before, we go image trim. And we'll go file save, Control S. Okay, let's call it Pantlegs rose. Incredible. Click OK, send pictures. Let's go over here to the color shirt. We'll do color best. That'll work. Alright, so now we've got to set up this image so that way it hits where that pad is. Alright, so this is the neat little trick as well. So we're going to go back over here to Photoshop. We're going to go File, New. In a couple of my webinars, I teach you how to make templates. So basically, we're going to print a template directly to the empty plat, so that way I know where to place my pad. So I know it's 6.5 inches long. The ruler go. Add the ruler. There it is. So it's exactly 6.5 inches wide. And then it is 15 inches tall. So we go height 15 and width 6.5. Alright, so now we got an image or a document that's the 15 by 16 or 15 by 6.5. Then we're going to paint bucket fill it with the color white. So that way I have an object now, an actual rectangle that's to that exact dimension, so fill that area. So here's the little trick, we add a stroke to it. So you go File, or I'm sorry, FX Stroke. We'll just do it at about 2 points. And we're going to do it as an inside stroke instead of an outside, because if you did an outside stroke, it'd be outside the dimensions of the document. If we did a center, half of the stroke would be on the inside, half of it would be on the outside. So we'll just do an inside, so that way it's going to be a stroke line that's exactly 6.5 by 15. All right. So then we'll create a new layer. I'm going to flatten this one down. So I just drag the empty layer down and go merge down. So now it's just a single layer with a stroke line underneath it. So we'll go Control S to save this. We'll go pant leg template. Click on save. All right, now we'll minimize this. We're going to import that image into a white shirt cube because I don't want to print a big white box with a black line around it. I just want to print the black line. So my white shirt cubes don't print with white ink. So that's why I'm going to use this. All right, so now we're going to hit add that in. Go down here to pant leg template. And I'm just going to leave it centered on the platen so that way I can drape the other stuff around it. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to get this loaded. So let me go ahead and pre-rip it. And then what I'm doing over on the machine is I just have an empty platen. I raise it up to the gap. Load an empty platen in, and I'll show you what it prints in just a second. So as soon as I get this started or sent over, I'll switch back over to the video. All right, so we'll go ahead and hit print. Switch off of video or switch on to video. So what this is printing here is a box. So that way I know where to place my template at. Now you notice I have other boxes printed onto the platen because it doesn't really rub off once it's dry. So if I ever have to do another size, like say a 5x7 photo, I just leave that on there, just drop it right in the middle. Okay, in the meantime, while this is finishing printing, I'm going to go ahead and go pre-treat my pant leg with some dark pre-treatment. pre-press our pant leg here. Back this up so you can see. So just where my printed area is. So that steam off there. Alright, so now, as you can see, I have a little box on here on my platen template. So if y'all can see it right there. So all I have to do is take my pad here and place it basically centered. Alright, so the good thing about this neoprene pad, it stays put pretty well. It's got enough weight on it and it stays flat. That's the biggest thing. Alright, so now pull this pant leg off of here. Probably have a little excess up here. Stay real good. So what I'll have to do is get some tape to tape down these edges here. Okay, let's see. Tape. And of course I don't have anything really good. So let's see. This is just a quick fix. I would normally use like masking tape. Instead of me hunting that down, I'm just going to do it very quick. Masking tape would definitely work better. Alright, just as long as my edges are nice and taped down, look down the thing, make sure it's nice and smooth. The excess under. Just make sure none of the other parts of the jeans are up higher. It's usually best to do them one at a time, so that way you don't have to worry about all this excess here. I'm going to tuck some of it in to make it tape. Right. Scan it. Alright. So, looks like we're doing pretty good here. Let's go ahead and load it. Okay, so now I want to switch off my video again and turn on my screen. Alright, so now we have that template. Let's go back over to Photoshop. So what I can do is I can take this rose here, and one of the cool things I like to do so that way it keeps its resolution is I turn it into a smart object. Convert to smart object. And then when I drag it over to another image that may be bigger or something like that, then I can just drag and drop, and then when I size it, it will keep its resolution. It's pretty cool. Read up on those. All right, so that came in as kind of tiny, but that's why I made it into a smart object. Let's pull this up here. So I can click on this now. Let me get rid of the box that I made. So Control T to transform. Oops. Control Z, I need to... If you hold the Shift key while you're dragging these things out, it keeps its proportions. I don't want this thing too big. It look a little bit gaudy. Or why not? Gaudy's fun these days, right? Put some bling on it, too. Alright, so we have it centered. So enter, it looks all fuzzy, but the cool thing about Smart Object keeps its resolution. So even though I expanded it out, it doesn't get all pixelated. So definitely read up on the Smart Objects. Okay, so this is going to be pretty big down the pant leg, so let's just see what it does. Why not? So I'll hit Control S here. So I just saved over the template. If I wanted to, I could redo it and save it under a different name, but I think you'll get the gist. All right, so then as long as I don't move it, it's the exact same size as the template that I did, because it's the same file. But it has the image in it now. And you notice when I first did it, I did not move the image in the platen there. So I've got it running the correct orientation. So let's go ahead and hit print. Let's go back over here to the video. Expand it out a little bit. And let's see what it does. Oh, hold on. Stop. I just noticed something. One of the things that you have to remember is when you want to print an underbase, you have to put it in the queue that prints the underbase. I forgot to switch the queue. I was still printing in a white queue. So let's go ahead and just power back up. We'll reset everything, and I can just print right over top of that. All right. See, even the best of us make mistakes. So don't feel bad. And please don't make fun of me. All right. We'll go back over to the screen. We'll get rid of that one. And we'll go to the color shirt key. All right. Color vests. And we'll have them do it. All right, there we go. Now I'll go ahead and pre-rip it because the machine's still starting out. Just hit load. All right, so go ahead and hit print again. And take two. As long as I didn't move cat legs, that'll cover it right on up. Look at that. It's amazing. Yeah, that's the biggest thing with DTG. Doesn't matter what it took you to get there, finished product makes the difference. So you will see the like weave pattern of the denim, which will probably give it a kind of a neat look to it anyway. But if I wanted to really cover it up, I might even do 2 layers of white on there. But I think this is going to be plenty. I think it's going to look really cool. Want to make Mark wear these jeans again? The marketing guy. He'll look real cute. Oh, if I already sent the job over, so just so everybody knows, um, yeah, I didn't think you were yelling at me. Somebody had the cap locks on. But their question was, how would you do 2 layers of white? Well, inside the RIP software, where you go into your layer profiles, it has repeats, right? Where it has like the layers and what colors are turned on while it prints. It has repeats, so you can put a repeat for the underbase too, and then it'll do 2 passes. It'll automatically retract it in. But say, whoops, I forgot to do that. Okay, if I wanted to print a second underbase without having to just resend over the artwork or anything like that, and now I already have one underbase on there, what I would do is before it started the color layer, I would power off the machine by hitting the emergency stop. So then, once the machine resets, I'll just reload it and hit print again. So that way, it'll do a second underbase. So that's another way, like a fix on the fly type thing. And the placement is pretty much perfect. I love using templates so that way I can kind of have a visual of what it's really going to be doing, or where it's going to be printed. Tape popped up a little. Whoop. I almost got my finger caught. So it kind of still has that kind of pencil line drawing look to it. I think that kind of adds to it though. Get your heart out, Ralph Lauren. So making your jeans really pretty much. Awesome. It's got tribal on it. Little metro. So yes, pretty much any natural material, you can print them. And the basic premise about printing to something like jeans, it's not really about what the substrate is, it's how you handle the substrate on the printer. So keep the magic rule always in mind. The surface that you want to print to has to be the highest level surface. And if it's not, then make it. And if it can't be made surface or flat, you're not printing. All right, guys. Well, I hope this tech talk has been informative. Does anybody have any questions before we kind of draw it to a close? Does everybody kind of get the gist of how it works and all that good stuff? All right. Let's see what she looks like. Go ahead and pull the tapes off. Save that for later. All right. Let's see. Let's bring the camera back over here. So, as you can see, I need to cure it so I don't destroy the print. But as you can see, it's nice and down there on the pant leg. Makes me feel like I'm about to go to Burning Man or something. All right, let's cure it and be done with it. If I wanted it more of a matte finish, I would definitely use the parchment paper versus the release paper. It gives it a smooth or like a softer hand to it. Oops. I'll just put it down for another minute after it's done. The timer was set for 200 or 2 minutes, sorry. All right, so does anybody have any questions? All right. I hope this definitely was informative. You can use this technique on multiple different types of items. You can cut them smaller, bigger, whatever you need it to do. Just remember the golden rule. Make the printed area the highest level area. All right, so if you definitely have any questions, don't forget that you can always create a support ticket on our support system, either online or calling into our front desk. Also, you can create them just by emailing support@ColDesi.com. And that will automatically put you in there. Make sure to put all your company information, your telephone number, and pictures of anything that you might be having issues with or something to that order, so that way the tech already is preloaded with what to talk about. All right. The tool chest in the background. It is Ultra HD. I think they got these at Home Depot. Okay. And these are U-line tables that the machine's on. So it's the nice steel tables. These work really well. They're nice and thick. It doesn't have any kind of wobble to it when it's printing, which is very important. All right. Anybody else have questions? All right. So yeah, we'll go ahead and draw this to a close. Definitely look forward to talking to you on the support lines, and we'll go from there. Y'all have a wonderful afternoon.